Well, hello and welcome to Cardiac Cat's YouTube channel. Once you all know, I am recording this literally 20 seconds after getting this news, so you're getting a very, very raw reaction to this. But Calvin Ridley, wide receiver that was for the Jacksonville Jaguars, has signed with the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what happened. We're going to explain it, and we're going to go back to why this happened, because I think that is an incredibly important thing to note. And apologize for the random tabs up here. I didn't prepare for this video too much because we've just been waiting for the news, but you're going to get a raw reaction. That's really what this should be. So here's what we've learned throughout the day. Calvin Ridley was essentially locked up this morning. This is supposed to be done. They couldn't finish it though, right? They had to wait until 4 p.m. Eastern today. We get news less than an hour before the new league year starts. The division rival has begun to bid on him and entered in with a massive offer. I mean massive, and you can see that here. $23 million a year. And we all immediately are like, oh, Houston Texans. It's always the Houston Texans, right? They're always stealing our players. The Titans do it too, to be fair. And so we are wrong on that. Come in with a massive deal, and Trent Baalke's got to decide, are we going to pay him that? And at the end of the day, they say no, and they let him walk for nothing. And that's what happens. But I want you to understand how big of a failure this is for the organization and the way that they have negotiated this entire thing and set up the entire situation. I think you guys need to understand that. Whether or not you wanted Calvin Ridley, because I know there are some of you who didn't, and that's fine. I've made it clear before, like on our channel, like if you have a different opinion, that's completely fine. My goal is to give you guys information, to inform you, to give you everything you need to make the best educated opinions. And we're very rarely going to agree on everything, right? And so for some fans, they might prefer this, probably not going to the Titans, but him not signing here. And so I just want you to understand, regardless, how incredibly stupid our general manager is, Trent Baalke. So there was a very, very simple way to avoid this scenario. And that was to franchise tag Calvin Ridley. And so you know, franchise tag number was much lower than $23 million. It was about 21, 22. They would have got him cheaper than this deal with the Titans. So I want to make that very clear. They could have used that. But instead, they were in a situation where they had to franchise tag Josh Allen. And I don't disagree with that choice between the two players. I disagree with how they got there and why they're there. They had to franchise tag Josh Allen because he was going to walk if that didn't happen. He's going to sign with another team that was guaranteed to happen. Jacksonville was not going to outbid other teams. And Jacksonville was nowhere close to negotiations. And one of the most damning things, I can't even say the most damning thing because there's so many damning things about the way this organization is run that we just can't even list them all. The list is so absolutely ridiculously long, we cannot list them all in this video. But the Jaguars, they didn't want to pay him. They didn't believe that Josh Allen was a number one pass rusher coming into this last year. And they didn't, this is the damning thing, they didn't start negotiations until a month after the season. A month after getting 17 and a half sacks, that's when they start. He's off in freaking Cancun doing nothing. He wants you to believe that he's doing all this work now and all this bull crap. He doesn't take his job seriously because he doesn't have to. He has a job no matter what he does because there's no accountability in that organization. There's no EVP. There's no owner who knows the football side. He can sure as heck do everything else as an owner. He has the money. He can invest into the city. He cannot run a football team. We all know that. And so we get to this situation where we have an idiot running this franchise. A complete, utter idiot. And I would love to use some other words. I'm going to abstain from doing it. And this idiot has a way of thinking that never changes. If he's wrong on something, He can't accept it. And he will go to the grave not being able to accept it. He will literally go to the grave. He will lose his job over this at the end of the day. Whether at the end of this year, I hope it's at the end of this year. I really do. I wish it was right now. Because he quite frankly deserves to be fired right now. But he's going to be at some point. It can't be avoided. That's going to have to happen. But this idiot decides he doesn't want to negotiate until weeks before the franchise tag deadline. We hear that they're close on a deal. We're getting told all these sweet little things that, oh, it's going to happen. We even heard after it. It never happened. It never came close. It's bullshit. Sorry. Just, you're probably going to hear a couple words, but most of you are adults anyway, so that's fine. But it's a lie. And here we go. And they got to franchise tag him. And they say, oh man, if we only had more time. You had months. You had more than months. You had the season. You had the freaking preseason. You had the off season before that. You had a year before that. Did you really think you were going to go on without Josh Allen being on your team? And if you did, why didn't you trade him? There's no answer. So here we go. I think that the Jaguars originally planned to franchise tag Calvin Ridley because there were two ways out of this hellish nightmare scenario that they walked directly into and pretended they weren't going to when we all damn well knew it was going to happen. One was to wait it out and offer him a deal that was too good to refuse. And we didn't do that. We said no, we let him freaking walk. And we can see that right here on the screen now. The other scenario is, hey, maybe we franchise tag him. But you can't franchise tag him when you have a superstar edge rusher that you refuse to sign. What do you think's going to happen? You don't have two franchise tags. And it comes down to the fact that Trent Baalke never believed in that player, and he doesn't want to, and he's too stuck up that he will literally lose his crowning accomplishment as a GM, no matter how good you think Calvin Ridley is or not. This is his biggest trade as a GM. He gave up a third-round pick for him, which is supposed to be a steal, whether or not you think he's a wide receiver one. It is ridiculous value. And he's gone because someone's an idiot. And they put themselves in this situation. Absolutely put themselves here. They could have got him back before free agency. They could have signed him. Calvin Ridley would have accepted the deal. I am damn well sure of that. But they couldn't do it because of the stipulations they put in their own frickin' handwriting. And here we go. Now we don't have a wide receiver one, whether or not you think he was the best receiver on the team. That's the reality. And I say that because in a year where he didn't play for two before that, he had just as many yards as Christian Kirk had his first year. So here we are, and we get to go watch him play for the Titans for the next 4 years and be pissed off about it and get laughed at by other teams. Because quite frankly, this organization deserves to be laughed at. The fans don't, because they go through hell every single day being a fan of this team. That's just what it is. But this is what we're going to have to live with. At least 2 of these years. Maybe he gets cut after that. I don't think he will. I think he's going to be better where he goes. I think he's going to be a damn good player for a while. And we're going to have to watch that at least twice a year. So that's great. But now for the Jaguars, cool, your cap situation's fine. You don't have a wide receiver one, and he's on the Titans. Now you got to go get T. Higgins, who they don't want to trade. What are you going to do? You need to draft someone? You can't get one of the top 3 unless you trade up. Trent Baalke sure as hell won't. He can't trade up because he can't get the deal done. Every deal he does, he wants to have no way of losing. He can't take risks. That's why this is on the screen right now, because he can't take risks. He can't pay that little bit of extra amount to keep something disastrous from happening. But at the end of the day, that little amount of money ain't going to matter that much. But here we are. It's absolutely ridiculous. And what sucks for the fans and why I hate for all you guys is that there's nothing we can do about it except not go to games, not buy stuff, and I don't think we should have to do that. Like, I wish I could go down there this year and enjoy a freaking football game. But I don't want to, because I don't want to watch whatever disastrous thing they're going to put on the field because they can't build a team. It sucks. I feel bad for all of you. We shouldn't be in this situation. But here we are. We're going to waste our quarterback's rookie contract away. We don't even know if we're going to give him a good enough team this next year for him to actually succeed and earn the next contract. We don't know about anything. This team might just be blowing up in the next couple years. We'll see. But this is what happened. Thank your GM for that. Send him a postcard. I've heard he's on Twitter quite frequently. So that's all I've got. We'll talk about this all more later. Let me know what you think. I'm sure everyone's really thrilled over this. So that's it. Go Jags.